I just want to share something with you. I'm getting ready for work this morning, but I just wanted to hop on here and share something about rejection. When you spend a lot of time and effort in researching a job for an interview, and you go and you interview with one group of people, two groups of people, maybe even three groups of people, and you think you have the job, but you don't. And how disappointing that can be. And I know I've been there, and that actually was my pivotal point for where I am at now. Back in April, it's August, but back in April, I applied for a job that I thought was perfect. Oh, hi, this is Carly Wendowski. I forgot to say that. Anyway, so I applied for this job that I thought was perfect. It was internal sales or inside sales, and it was at a big company, headquarters in another country, and great job, great benefits. It wasn't a call center, something that I definitely wanted to get out of. And I interviewed with 3 different groups of people. I left there, I thought for sure I had the job. I drove back and I hand wrote a thank you note, which is probably unheard of these days, but I did that, and I dropped it off and I gave it to a gentleman that greeted me at the door, and I thought for sure I had the job. And I waited and I waited and I waited. And even if I look on the job site now, or on their page, it probably still shows in process or in progress, one or the other. Anyway, but the point is, I was very disappointed, and almost to the point of just giving up. But I decided, no, I'll wait a bit, and I did. I took a little time off of looking for another job, and then when the time was right, which was probably close to 3 weeks, because I was really disappointed that I didn't get that job. And actually, somebody from there had contacted me on LinkedIn and said, oh, we have another job. It was, instead of inside sales, it was in their call center. And I reached out to her and I said, okay, well, I did apply for the other job, and thank you. That was my response initially. But then I was very frustrated at my prior job, and I reached back out to the woman. I said, oh, are you still hiring? And she goes, yeah. And then I said, well, I'd like to apply for it now. And she completely ignored me. Completely. I was so pissed off and just frustrated. And at that point, I knew working for that company, I definitely did not want to do that. So I shut down. I just went away, and it was fine because I didn't even have my resume turned on the job sites, so nobody really was looking at my information, and that was fine because I was just so irritated at that point of all the time and effort I put in researching the company. I spent a lot of time looking at things, but in the process, if you flip it, all the time that you spent looking and researching, you're learning things. So it's still a plus looking at it from the other side. Anyway, but I just wanted to share one of my rejection points. And if you apply for a job, if you get that far in the interview process, it's just not aligned for you. It's just not where I was meant to be. And I can look back now and go, gosh, I'm glad I am not in that position. I'm glad I don't work for a company that reaches out to people and then doesn't even return comments. I think that's totally crummy. Anyway, but I hope you have good luck. And if you don't, just stop, just reset, relax, and when you're ready again, in a short time after, don't wait too long, try again.